I am so sick and tired of seeing these flippin' signs everywhere. They're like yellow and they got black writing on them. They're like this big and they all say like, "We buy houses cash." I'm so sick and tired of seeing these things. Every time I see them now, I just call the cops, give them the phone number and everything, and just tell them to F off and everything. And I'm just so sick and tired of these signs, and you should be too. Hey, what is going on, everyone? Devin can up here with another video. And today, we're talking about the We Buy Houses signs. So, I'm going to jump into it. And actually, these things, I'm not necessarily for them, I'm not necessarily against them. And the reason being is because I'm actually in the industry that they put these signs up. And so, really what these signs do, the We Buy Houses, and they have a phone number, is what they're trying to do is essentially find people that they have motivation to sell their property quickly, essentially. And so why would somebody care about somebody that's motivated selling their property? Is essentially these people that are motivated are willing to sell their property at a discount. There's three different types of people actually that use these signs in order to find these types of people. Some of these people, like, you put them in more like less desirable areas and neighborhoods that have a higher chance of either being like a distressed home or people that are going through financial problems such as foreclosures or delinquent on their taxes and so on and so forth. Really what's going on is people are just trying to find these motivated sellers so that way they can make a profit on these properties. As majority of the population though, like 95% of the people trying to sell their house, they are trying to sell it for the maximum price. And so essentially only like 5% of the market is really being targeted with these signs. Now it's annoying basically everybody else that lives in this world other than these 5% of people that it's actually truly a service for. And now this obviously isn't the main way that people are marketing to try to find these motivated sellers, but essentially it's one of the ones that is like being shown to the public the most. And this is actually a pretty illegal process of putting up these signs in majority states and counties. And so there's only like a few areas where they'll actually leave them up. But even still, like it's kind of rare that a sign stays up for more than 2 weeks unless they found a pretty good spot to leave it where the city doesn't go and pick them up and everything and throw them away. You start to see these everywhere. Once you see one of them, you just start to notice that they're everywhere. And now after this video, it'll probably be essentially the same as like when you buy a red car. You get a red car and you think like, oh, nobody has a red car. But as soon as you get a red car, you notice that everybody else has a freaking red car. Now, the first type of person that puts these types of signs up is also known as a wholesaler. And that is how I got started into real estate investing. And so essentially what a wholesaler does is they are marketing for motivated sellers. So essentially like they're putting out these signs or they're sending out mail or they're cold calling people and so on and so forth. And essentially what they're doing is they are finding these people that are willing to sell their property at a discount, and then they're going to go in and get it under contract. And so essentially what they're doing is they're getting a set price that the seller agreed upon. And then what they're going to do before closing comes is they're going to find a buyer that is willing to buy this contract from them for a price greater than what they paid that they agreed upon with the seller on the property. And so what allows them to do this is that they're selling the contract and they're not brokering the property technically. And so this is a little bit of a gray area as far as legality goes, but there's some sort of way to do it in every state. You just have to figure out exactly how the law allows you to do it, whether you have to do like double closing, assignments. I'm not going to cover all that in this video because I've made over 100 videos about the subject, so feel free to go check the rest out. But essentially what that allows you to do is make a quick profit in real estate without having to spend any money whatsoever. The only money you have to spend as a wholesaler is the earnest money deposit that comes when you sign the contract. And so this is a very low barrier entry point into the real estate market and the real estate game. And usually most people for the earnest money, like I personally would do it for like $10. And so I wouldn't have to sacrifice a whole lot of money in case I wasn't able to find a buyer in time for the seller or whatnot. And usually I try to give them an answer within 3 days if we can move forward or not, so I wouldn't really be wasting anybody's time. If I knew it wasn't a deal, then I would call quits after a couple of days and I'd lose my earnest money. But there are still ways that you can get your earnest money back. It just really depends on how you got your contract set up and all that type of stuff. But that's enough about wholesaling. That's a pretty lucrative way to get into the business. But essentially, there's a lot of people that do it, and myself included. I've done many deals down that route. So now the second type of person that puts up these signs are investors who don't want to pay the commission for the realtors, essentially. So they're not buying these properties from wholesalers, and they want to find their own properties, and so basically they're picking up themselves, but they don't want to pay these realtors 5 to 6% for the commission on purchasing the property, as well as you're actually targeting an audience that normally wouldn't be found by a realtor. And so there's other ways to go around and basically directly target these people, but it's kind of like a shotgun approach. If you put up a bunch of signs everywhere in a neighborhood that you would think would have motivated sellers, then essentially these people are going to call you up, and all you had to do is just put out the signs, which is easy to just hire out the task and have somebody else go out there and put them up for you. As these signs, they cost about like $2 a sign. And so if you have a few $100s, you can easily just buy hundreds of these things and put them up everywhere. The hardest pain is really just putting them up. So basically these investors, they're trying to find a discounted property, and this is like the best marketing tactic. You aren't really able to entirely target exactly what flip property you want to deal with, so you are just kind of hoping for the best when you get these calls in, and obviously you can pick and choose what you want to deal with and whatnot, but at the end of the day, you're able to make find a good flip property for your next project, and essentially supplement your income by just putting up these bandit signs everywhere and making a good chunk of change from flipping these properties. Now the third type of person is there's actually large corporations and companies that put these signs out. It's kind of more of like how CarMax works as a service. Basically, they give a quick offer within 24 to 48 hours. And what they're doing is they're making a lot of these offers all the time. And essentially, they get these properties coming in, and they do light renovations on these properties, get them fixed up just enough, and then flipping the properties. And they're doing this on a massive scale, so they're flipping lots of properties all at the same time, putting minimal amount of work in it, making a lot of money. And they're just basically taking advantage of the fact that there's so many people that are motivated to sell their property for all these different various reasons, and they can easily just make a quick buck. And they're doing it all over the country and all over different places. And so sometimes it's from like a local investor that's just really scaled up their business, but there's other times where it's just huge companies that have been around for a long time that has built up the business to where they're able to flip a lot of properties all the time, as they have a lot of investors and capital and all of that type of fun stuff. And so essentially what it breaks down to is there's a lot of people that just put these out to find people that are willing to sell a property at a discount, and basically a motivated seller. And so there's a lot of different reasons why someone would sell their property at a discount. I've made hundreds of videos covering the subject, so I'm not going to be breaking them down inside of here. But if you really want to learn more about all of that type of stuff, just go through my channel. Also, join the fam, join the gang by hitting the subscribe button down below. And you can go through and look at a lot of the videos that I've already put out, as I do upload a video every single day onto this channel. And so if you guys want to see more content like that, like I said, just hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell right next to it as well, as that will notify you whenever I post a video, as I do it every day, and you can be educated every day when I talk about different subjects. And its majority of it is real estate, and then I talk about wholesaling a lot, as well as some other entrepreneurial ventures and stuff. On top of that, if you guys like today's video, please drop a like. That would be highly appreciated. And so like always, I am uploading to YouTube every day, so I will be seeing you all tomorrow. Peace.